Keyboard shortcuts. A very useful feature in Premiere is how the keyboard shortcuts are displayed. If you click Premiere Pro and go to Keyboard Shortcuts, a layout of your keyboard will be shown with all the commands assigned to each key press. And if you press modifier keys like Command or Option, or multiple at a time, you can see clearly what everything does. To really increase your speed, you need to be well versed in the keyboard shortcuts you use the most. Watch yourself while you edit, and notice the processes that you're clicking through over and over again. If a process takes more than one click or a lot of mouse movement, there may be a better way to do it with a keyboard shortcut. I always keep one hand on the mouse and one hand on the keyboard. You're probably already using the keyboard to switch between the selection tool and the blade tool, probably copy and paste, probably undo. But there's so many buttons on the keyboard, there's so much that can be done. For example, I was noticing for myself, I would replace graphics a lot. I would have a new version and want to update it. So I would go to the timeline and right-click the old graphic, then scroll up to Replace, and then over to From Bin. That for me was too much movement. But when I looked over the default keyboard shortcuts, there was no shortcut assigned to this command. Command 1 was blank, so I created a custom keyboard shortcut for this process. Don't be afraid to add something that you use a lot, because in the end, if you don't use it, you can always delete it later. For me, it's often been hard to learn a lot of keyboard shortcuts at the same time. So I would often try to learn one a day or one a week, depending on how much I'd be editing. Find something new on your next project, use the keyboard shortcut over and over, and then it will be added to your repertoire. Another interesting thing about keyboard shortcuts is that I would often press the wrong key and add something I didn't mean to. So I've also learned about my accidental presses. For example, many times I've bumped an I or an O to mark an in or an out point on my timeline. And then later I want to get rid of those in and out points to have a cleaner looking timeline. So I looked in the keyboard shortcuts, and by holding Option and pressing X, you can clear the in and out. That was a resolution to my accidental button press. 1. Know the default keyboard shortcuts. 2. Know the keyboard shortcuts that are custom to you and your style of editing. 3. Don't be afraid to customize new commands. And 4. Know what to do when you have an accidental button press. There are so many buttons on a keyboard, and so many modifiers. Shift, Control, Option, Command, and combinations. So there's plenty of ways to use your opposite hand, decrease your mouse movement and clicks, and speed up your editing.